Let me digress just for a moment to deal with Japan, because Japan, of course, was the first East Asian country to industrialize, starting after the Meiji Restoration in 1868. It led to a process that finally had Japan catch up with the Western economies. Japan's standard of living doubled between 1870 and the First World War. It doubled again by 1939, and after a major slump during the war, much more than in most of the other belligerent countries, had recovered its pre-war level by 1956 and caught up with Western Europe by 1973. That's pretty dramatic. Japan is an outlier, though. It was the only Asian economy to industrialize so early, and although it had scale, the population reached 100 million people by 1967, and its industrialization was distinctly faster than for Western Europe. Nevertheless, its total economic impact on the world economy was still relatively minor because it represented just one country. Japan's share of world GDP rose from 2.3% in 1870 to 8.7% at its peak in 1991, and it's back down to under 6% again. It's non-trivial, but not enough to mark a qualitative shift in things like world demand for resources. And the two other reasons why Japan has been, other than in the Second World War, less disruptive. First, the speed of industrialization, though rapid, was about half that we saw in East Asia and in China. And the second was post-World War II, with American troops stationed in Japan and a link between American politics and Japanese politics, the Americans were able to pressurize the Japanese to revalue the yen. And one of the effects of that was that although Japan became competitive from time to time, they didn't become super competitive because the currency was forced to adjust to squeeze out their excess competitiveness. So the super competitive conditions that we've seen elsewhere only existed for a short period before the appreciation of the yen changed the position. But Japan has been important in this story. First, it proved conclusively for any racist who believed that only white people could industrialize that this was emphatically not the case. And of course, Japan's actions in the Second World War, though ultimately self-defeating, spelt the end of the Western, especially British, empires in the East. And my fellow Gresham professor, Sir Richard Evans, has written extremely eloquently about this, and I believe spoken in his lectures on it as well.